This is a Soak podcast.
Welcome to The Frequency Effect, sponsored by Soak Technologies, where inspiration fuels innovation. Join our experts as they elevate your mind, body, and spirit, one conversation at a time. This is The Frequency Effect.
So again, welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the first episode in our new studios of The Frequency Effect podcast. We're so honored for you to be here.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you both for the invitation.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you and go through a bunch of questions with you and get to know you more and let our audience get to know you more.
Oh, I thought I was interviewing you.
That's usually the case, but not this time.
Reverend Dr. Beckwith, you've been around so many great people in your life. I know you don't talk about it from the stage, but I've noticed, and to think about you spending time with the Dalai Lama and about every celebrity you can even name because of your location at the Agape Spiritual Center on Wilshire in Beverly Hills. I know you've had such an amazing outreach with that center. That's kind of coming to the end of the story, but I want to back up. And instead of talking about Oprah or Ellen or any of the, super famous people that you've been around, because you're super famous, I want to start from the very beginning. You started feeling different, when we were talking in the car, and you said it was like you were always trying to be normal, but knowing you weren't normal. Can you walk us through some of that transformation that happened to you even as a kid?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for that question to go into a little backstory.
Yes, please.
Which I don't talk about that often. So as a child, I had certain experiences that at the time I was having them, I would quickly try to normalize my perception at the time.
Right.
When I was, I can remember when I was 11, I was in Washington, D.C., my birthday week. And that's where our family's from, D.C. Mm-hmm. So I was at my grandmother's house, and she sent me to the grocery store to get some groceries. So I was in one aisle, and all of a sudden I saw the stock boy in the next aisle about to drop a bottle of baby food. I could see it. So I ran around really fast, and I caught it before it hit the ground.
When you were 11?
Yeah. I was just turning 11.
Wow.
And he said, "How did you know it was going to drop?" And I said, "I don't know. I just saw it." So now I'm on my way home. I had the groceries. My uncle, my mother, and my grandmother are sitting on the stoop watching me approach.
Right.
And I'm looking at them, look at me. And my mind is saying, my mother thinks I'm her son. My grandmother thinks I'm her grandson. And my uncle thinks I'm his nephew, but I'm not. I'm something else. And I didn't have the full language, but I was something else.
Right.
And so I had to make a decision. Am I going to be me, or am I going to be what they think I am? So I got really close, and I shrunk into being the son, the grandson, and the nephew. I made
that they expected.
That I shrunk right into the personality construct. Now later on that same year, I think it was the 6th grade. I was nominated to be treasurer of the school. Mm-hmm. I declined. I'd gone to the restroom. I came back. My name was on the board. And I said, "Miss Adler, I decline. I don't want to be the treasurer." I was kind of a shy guy.
Right.
And she said, "You can't decline. It's too late." And we had to go to every room and make little speeches. And at the end of the week, we had to speak in front of the assembly, the whole student body,
right,
which was scary to me.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. I'm the last person to go up to speak. I'm just like, oh my God. So I stand up to speak, and all of a sudden, I start speaking about what it means to be an excellent student, to be an excellent servant. I mean, I'm just rolling. And then I sit down, and everybody's shocked. Right. I'm shocked.
Like, I'm good at this.
And I was just so cool. I said, what happened? And so all that week, I was trying to prove that wasn't me up on the stage.
Right.
I'm Michael,
Right.
And I got into a little trouble that week, just trying to be somewhat normal.
Be normal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had different experiences as a child. I think you remember one in which I was growing a garden in my backyard. And
yeah, you were telling me about that.
I pulled up a radish. I bit into the radish, and I suddenly knew that everything was in the radish. The radish was connected to everything. I didn't have the language that I have now, but I ran into the house and told my mother, everything is in the radish. Everything, it's all here. And she's saying, yes, baby, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand what I'm trying to say. So fast forward, I'm transferring from Morehouse College, ultimately transferred to USC. As a psychobiology major there. And previous to that, I was a part of a very revolutionary group. I was the propaganda commissioner for this revolutionary group. When I was in Atlanta, I started what is called the Harriet Tubman Prison Committee, in which we were working and advocating for prisoners to get pay for the work they were doing. Anyway, I'm in this meeting, and this voice behind me says, if you were to take over the world tomorrow, would the world be any different? So I looked around the room, and I could see the pathology of all the human beings in the room. This person was territorial. This person was greedy. This person always had to be right. I could just see everything, and I said, wow, the world wouldn't be any different. So I left the meeting and never went back. The very next week, somebody in that meeting shot somebody.
Whoa.
They got into an argument. The guy pulled out a gun and shot somebody.
Wow.
I wasn't there to be a part of that whole
Yeah.
legal thing that went down. And so I pulled out of that. I didn't have anything to replace it. I enrolled in USC, psychobiology major, is on the path to go to med school. And in my last year there, I continued to have these inner experiences that I labeled pathological. I thought I was crazy.
Right.
I was leaving my body, traveling, hearing, seeing visions. And so the first thing that I did, because I said, I don't know what's going on with me. So I stopped smoking weed.
Yeah.
I said, I am not bothering. So
Because you thought that may have
I thought
contributed to your
right.
to a hallucination or something different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the experiences, it got magnified.
Oh, wow.
When I stopped. It was just more.
Wow.
And so...
So there was no need for the weed.
I had to weed it out of my life.
yeah. You pluck the weeds out of your life.
And so to shorten this story, I'm having a lucid dream most nights. And in this dream, these three men are in the distance, and they're chasing me, but I always wake up in time before they could catch me. But every night, they're a little bit closer. So one night, I could see the outline of their faces, and to my right was a small tent. I mean, not this small, but I mean, really
Right.
small tent. Thousands of people are waiting in line to come into this small tent. And I look, and I knew every being in line. I knew them all. And I said to myself, these men can't hurt me. All of my friends are with me.
Wow.
And then one by one, all of my friends turned their back on me. Two of the men held me down, and one plunged a serrated knife into my heart. The pain physically was excruciating, emotionally excruciating, and I died. And when I woke up, I could see differently. The beauty of life everywhere, everything glowing with this luminosity. The lint in the rug was alive, which is this presence of the divine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the love that penetrated my being was beyond anything I'd ever humanly experienced. And so I could never get back in the box after that. All the little things that had happened in childhood, like pinpricks, where I would normalize myself.
Right.
After that, I couldn't get back in. And so my name for this presence was Love Beauty. I didn't use the word God at the time because I had left the church because I was aware that the theology was full of dogma and this man in the sky, and it didn't fit me.
And trying to control people
Right.
and groups and things like that.
Yeah. So I named this presence Love Beauty. And then later on, it evolved to Love Beauty Intelligence. And then later on, I was able to reclaim the word God.
Yes.
Because it didn't mean a guy in the sky.
Yeah.
Right.
It meant a divine presence a presence that's never an absence. And so from that moment on, my whole thrust was seeking to discover what had happened to me and seeking to integrate it because I was so heavenly bound, but I was no earthly good.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
was
Yeah. How do you
hanging out.
operate after that?
Yeah, I was just operating this high speed. I was like, why are people trying to get money? Why are they arguing about, everything
Right.
didn't make sense to me at that time in the human realm. And so eventually, time goes by, I integrate more. And I'll always remember this. I was sitting in my living room and I was saying, God, what do you want me to do? Because at this time, I don't have any degrees. I'm not minister, I'm not bishop, I'm not anything.
Yeah.
I'm just about to finish school. And the phone rang. And there was a woman on the phone, I won't say her name, and she said, is this Michael Beckwith? I said, yes. She said, we went to high school together. I found your phone number in the annual, the senior book.
Right.
I said, yes. And she said, God told me to call you, that you could help me. I said, really? And she began to express some of the deep challenges she was going through, some of the things she was embarrassed by, and I would pray for her. And she got better, and then she started telling people, call Michael.
And she had an ease of just opening up to you just from a cold phone call.
We hadn't seen each other since high school.
Wow.
And so anyway, people started calling and wanted to be around me and things of that particular nature. So one day I'm at a restaurant, and I see her. She's in line. And I shout out her name, and she looks at me, and she runs away. We still hadn't seen, all this time has been phone calls.
Yeah.
Right.
And I realized that she was embarrassed by all the things she had revealed to me and didn't want to see me in person. Then I got to thinking, I didn't have that phone number in high school.
Yeah, I was wondering that when you said it. I was like, you kept the same phone number that
No.
long?
right. In your yearbook.
Yeah.
And my phone number was unlisted.
Interesting.
Because I had a bout with being in the streets for a while,
Yeah.
Right.
and so I didn't, nobody could get in contact with me. And I'm saying, how did she get, nobody has my phone number. So I'm saying, did that phone number actually appear in her annual, or did she get it through some kind of, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
But it set me on a
Suspicious.
path
Right.
to be of assistance to people.
Yeah.
Right.
People would like to
Wow.
hang around me. I would pray for them, do healings, things of that particular nature. And then one day, my mother, after I had this experience, and my mother had been going to a metaphysical community, and she says, you should go to this church. I said, Mom, I'm not going to anybody's church. I get direct. I get my answers direct. Right. She said, and she
I don't need a middleman.
She said, no, Michael, they talk like you. I said, really? So I go to this place called the Guidance Spiritual Community. Minister's name was Dr. Daniel L. Morgan. And so I'm walking down the aisle, and I hear him say, heaven and hell aren't merely places, they're states of consciousness. And I shout out, he's right, like that. And and I'm like, in my early 20s, everybody turns around and looks at me like, who's this young boy saying
this
this
kid?
Right, I said, what? He's actually saying the truth from church?
Yeah.
When did this happen? And I sat down and I listened. And I said, yeah, he understands the nature of the universe. And the next day, that was a Sunday, I was in his class. And he looks at me and says, what is your name? I said, Michael Beckwith. He said, Mr. Beckwith, this is a 15-week class. You've walked in on the 7th week. I suggest you leave, and when we start the class again, come back. And I said, with all due respect, Dr. Dan, I am not leaving. I'm going to sit here, and when the class starts, I'll start all over.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and knew my resolve was
Right. You're not going to
I'm
leave.
not going anywhere. And he said, okay, do what you want, And so that began a path of me actually taking formal classes. And then what they had was a spiritual therapist degree, spiritual practitioner. And I said, this is
That's
one of the things
neat.
I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, very cool.
Perfect.
So it kind of helped me integrate the experiences I was having. Yeah, so that's a quick backstory.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful, and I think it frames a great perspective of where we'll take this interview with you in this podcast, because I want to get into the spirituality question. When you said people are not to be thinking of a guy in the sky.
Right.
I grew up Pentecostal. My father was a Pentecostal preacher, teacher. So I've seen a lot.
Right.
I've been through a lot. I've had personal healings and miracles that I can share on other podcasts, but one in particular, I had a back problem, and I was in college. I couldn't even go to sleep. It was about a year and a half. I'd lost 25, 30 pounds. I had to tell my teachers that I have to stand in the back of the classroom. I couldn't even sit down. The pain was so excruciating. Had everything on X-ray. I'd been going to a chiropractor, and he said, "You're going to need back surgery. There's no way to fix this." The pain was getting more intense. So I went by my father's chapel. Our church had just split, by the way, because of some internal things that kind of went wrong, and I went to my father's his little storefront chapel just to tell him I'm going to have surgery for my back, and he had split from my mom and all this and that, and I was probably 21, 22 years old and just kind of getting my bearings as a young man, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you want me to pray for you?" Mm-hmm. And my natural mind said, "Anybody but you."
That's your dad.
Yeah, but it was my father as my pastor, but the church had split. Everything had went backwards. I was questioning God. I was questioning everything. And I said, okay, whatever. I mean, I was respectful because I believe in honoring your parents no matter what.
Right.
I was respectful. And he had maybe a 60-second prayer for me, Michael. And my back was instantly healed. He said, "Bend over, tell me if your back hurts." Mm-hmm. And I did it, and I freaked out. I said, "Oh my gosh, there's no pain in my back." And I stood up. Very long story short, I went to the chiropractor, and I said, "Something's happened to me." And he said, "Well, let me get this on X-ray." Chiropractors are always, doctors in general are, let me see it. Let me see the science. And he pulled up an X-ray of my back, and he said, "Your back is perfect." He said, "What did you do?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "It wasn't me." I said, it was God. So what that taught me was we have access to that power.
Yes.
I will never judge anyone for their humanness because we're not even supposed to look at that. We're supposed to look beyond the humanness and look at the spiritual side of what we have access to and what is actually in us right now. So when you say a guy in the sky and to get that out of your mind, I agree. I also believe in God. I believe in Jesus, the Christ.
Yes.
Not Jesus Christ, because Christ is not his last name, but I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe what he did for us. Yes. I believe he was our Savior. I heard you in an interview with Oprah, and she asked you, she said, "What's your basis for all of this?" Mm-hmm. And you told her it was based on Jesus the Christ. Right. And I love that you said that. But people, when they hear you say it's not a guy in the sky, they think, oh, now it's all universalism, it's this, it's that, and they get uncomfortable. But what you're really teaching is we have this in us. We have access to the power of the one that created us. We can summons that like this. Your eyes were open at an early age. You woke up to seeing this and see how it actually happens. And you do an amazing job articulating that, but I don't even see how you put that in words because it's hard to think about the universe is in us and as us and through us. And my friend Bishop Pearson, who introduced us.
Brought us
we have his son here with us today, Julian. Love that boy. The young man, sorry. He has a little
he has a little girl.
He has a little girl. Yeah. He's not a young boy anymore. Bishop, did you hear that? But he introduced us, and I knew he grew a lot from your teachings and the articulation you have to show people that there is a God, there is somebody, there is a creator, there's a father, there's a father that's both your father and your mother.
Absolutely.
And the whole thing that is inside you, and you were given access to see that. And now as you articulate that and as you present that to people, their life changes. And you articulate it. I've seen you enough times articulate it differently to different groups of people that will accept it as this, or, God said, let's be all things to all men. They'll accept it a certain way that you project it. And then signs really do follow because you've told me of miracles that have happened in your ministry and in your life, and the way you've touched and helped help facilitate the healing process into other people. And I'm my mind is racing so fast because I can't put into words how great it is to have somebody that gets that and doesn't discard those. A lot of people throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't do that. You keep the best. You were talking to me this morning about how the Holy Spirit moves through you, being everywhere at once. And I'm so excited.
For the record, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
When I woke up, and after that, and I started studying the teachings of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then I studied the teachings of a lot of awakened beings. I could see the correlation that the only thing different was culture, and history at the time, and Jesus, this awakened being, it is said that he awoke in one lifetime, whereas other teachers took many lifetimes to get what he did in one time. So I mean, we can go into a whole thing about that, but he was my teacher.
Right.
And the Christ presence would anoint me. I can remember one time coming home from a meditation retreat. When I came into my living room, there was some guests there waiting to see me. I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to put my bags into the bedroom. And for some inexplicable reason, I just laid down on my bed one more time. And all of a sudden, my hands got really hot. My heart started beating really fast. And I was lifted into this supreme light. And my mind says, I'm with Jesus. I'm with Jesus the Christ. So I started asking questions. Before I could formulate the question in my mind, the answer would come over and over and over again about the nature of reality and how there's no death. So then this thought went across my mind, you have guests in the living room. I said, I'm being rude. So I got lowered back into the body, and I ran into the living room, and I apologized for I said, but you guys have nothing to be worried about. There's no such thing as death. Death is just a doorway into another expression of life. Most people worry about things that never happen. I started just going off into this
You had your whole teaching.
And then they looked at me, because for them, I was only gone 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
For me, it felt like I was in this light for hours, getting all this information.
Wow.
Really?
So time and space, I'd learned that time and space are relative. It doesn't really exist. It's all perception. And so it took me hours to download all this stuff. But for them, I went back into the bedroom, dropped my bags, and came out with this big story.
Wow.
But you had time warp for months, sat at the feet of Jesus, learned this, and then came back.
So that makes me curious about this whole kind of transformation season in the beginning when all this happened to you. Did you find yourself more of a recluse where you were with yourself, with your thoughts, or were you really wanting to be around people and to talk?
People thought I had freaked out. I lost all my friends. Because they said, Michael's freaked out on Jesus, is what they said. He's freaked out. We don't know this guy anymore. He doesn't go to parties, doesn't get high, doesn't drink. It's just like...
Oh, he gets high. He floats up in the heavenlies.
So I was pretty much alone. And I went to... I'll just share this one little backstory. So at the time, I gave up smoking weed and all that, but I got arrested for selling marijuana. It's a long story, but I'll just make it very short. And so I had to go to court. And the inner presence told me I was walking free. And so I had no worries.
Did you tell the judge that?
No.
Listen, I know how this is.
We don't need to go through all this. I'm walking free. This start at the end. So I'm sitting in the courtroom, and I'm reading meditation books. I'm reading the Bible. I'm not even concerned about the case.
Wow.
We're still going through preliminary arraignments and this and that. And so I had hired the biggest attorney in LA at the time, and he had an assistant attorney working with him. And I'm sitting there, and the assistant attorney starts to interview this motorcycle cop about why they'd come to my house. He wasn't even there. This is a whole setup. but I'm not going to get into that piece.
Right.
And he says why did you go to Mr. Beckwith's house? He says, well, the informant told us that there was going to be a big drug deal, so we staked out the house, we got a search warrant, and as soon as we saw the delivery, we rushed in. So the assistant attorney says, that's hearsay evidence. We demand that the informant come and stand before the accused and identify him.
Right.
And so the judge pulls the attorneys together and says, we need the guy here within 3 days. So we come back 3 days later, and the prosecutor says, Your Honor, the informant is afraid for his life. He will not come. And the judge says, Mr. Beckwith, I have no other recourse but to set you free. I hope I never see you in my courtroom again. And I said, Your Honor, you never will.
You never will.
I promise.
I left. I went home, and the neighbor had a weather vane. And the weather vane was pointing in the direction the wind was blowing. And I looked up at the weather vane, and I said, God, if this means what I think it means for my destiny, I want that weather vane to point against the wind toward me. I was testing God. Before I could finish, the weather vane turned and pointed right at me.
Whoa.
I fell on my knees and cried like a baby and surrendered my entire life.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Use me. I'm totally available.
Wow. How amazing.
Yeah.
It's hard to give up self sometimes.
Yeah.
For you having the dream that somebody cut you with a knife, that when you said that to me, I saw that as you dying to the old man.
Totally.
The ego, yeah.
And putting on the new man.
Absolutely.
And I think that availability, and we've got a lot more to talk about, but I just want to take a second here. That ability to open up to the Spirit and to, have the Heavenly Father speak to you and talk to you. It's not as mystical as people think. It's not. You don't have to stand in the corner, turn around 3 times, hold your tongue a certain way, lift your right hand for. You know what I mean?
No.
There's
Yes,
over 4,000 religions out there, and I heard a comedian I really like say, and one of them's got to be right. Like which one is it? But I think when you look beyond religion and into more of the spiritual awareness and an awakening that's available to each of us right now, and I just want to ask you this question. And again, I'm going to jump back into the interview, but I want to ask you this question: how? If there's somebody watching right now this podcast, and they're saying, "I felt that tug on my life, and I know it's different, and I'm tired of being the same old, because what I've done in the past is not getting me the things that I want in my future." And maybe they've been hurt. Maybe they've been in jail. Maybe they've been in prison. I've spent 2 nights in jail myself, just FYI. That'll be another podcast.
Yeah. When I got arrested, I spent no time in jail.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
You did. But for that person who says, man, what's the first step? Like, do I get on my knees? Do I pray? Do I go to a certain church? Do I, what do I do? What would you say for someone watching for the first time and wanting to open up their life to something different and invite the Spirit in?
Invitation.
Like what? Yeah. What's that? What do we do next?
Invitation is a good word. First of all, when you talked about not having to jump up and down and spin around, and the presence of God is always broadcasting its nature all 24/7, all the time. There's never God is never on or off.
Right.
There's no off button. So God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yes.
So that presence of love and beauty and intelligence, peace, is always being broadcast from the heart mind of the infinite.
Right.
So, but are we listening is the question.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're never praying to get God to change God's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That would be disastrous if we could influence God.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can't influence God.
Right.
But we can be influenced by God. So the first step is to actually invite the presence in.
Yeah.
To actually become willing.
Yes.
To actually say, I'm open, I'm available, use me, speak to me in a language, in a way in which I can understand, to be absolutely receptive. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is our spiritual faculty begins to open up. Mm-hmm. And we have this sensorium of the 5 senses. Mm-hmm. Those are prosthetics of spiritual sense. Mm-hmm. So in other words, we have eyes, but before the eyes, there is a spiritual eye that allows us to see the invisible. There's ears that allow us to hear the inaudible. That created the physical senses. So when we begin to ask, use me, begin to ask, I want to understand, I want to, please take over my life. Or at that moment, what happens is the spiritual sense begins to be awake.
Yeah.
And now we begin to hear guidance and wisdom. It may be a gut feeling. It may be a felt sense. It may be an inner voice for some people. It may be a sudden knowing. But now we become receptive to what's always happening. God is never not God.
Right.
And so I think when you use the word invitation,
Yes.
we become a living invitation.
Wow.
For
I
that.
love that.
And just on another note, that assistant attorney was a Robert Shapiro.
Are
wow.
you serious?
He was
You know what I almost said when you said that? I was going to be funny, and I was going to say, if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Right. He was
I know that was
he was a very young man.
And he was your defense attorney?
He was the assistant to the attorney named Harry Weiss.
Right.
And he was the one
right.
asking all the questions.
Oh my gosh!
So I think about
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
What a small world. So yeah, if somebody out there is listening right now or watching us, take a second and just invite God into your life. And if you want to see something that you've never seen before, and hear something you've never heard before, just do that. If you're driving in your car, pull over and take 10 seconds, and I promise you, it will change your life forever.
And that's the scary part for many people, because they want their life to change while they remain the same.
Yeah.
But when you make the invitation and you become available and open and intend that, God's not going to change,
right?
But you're going to change.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going to become a greater version of yourself, and you're going to let go of the old man and the old woman. And it might be a little painful to the ego.
Right.
But as I've taught over the years, a bad day for the ego is often a good day for the soul.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
And so
That's right. I love that one.
I didn't know we were going to have church this
I
morning.
didn't either.
Hallelujah.
But this is the high frequency.
This is the frequency effect. Okay, so I'm so glad you said that, and I'm going to be quiet because I know I went way over my time talking. But that is the frequency effect. It's the frequency that we felt when the Holy Spirit entered this room.
Yes.
And affected and infected each of us.
Yes.
To make that invitation for somebody. If one person listening right now makes that invitation and stops and invites the Spirit of God into their life, it's worth everything.
Everything.
That's what we're about. That's what we've all dedicated our lives to. So having the flexibility to go there this early in our very first podcast, in our very first new studio, I think is the greatest.
Stay tuned.
Right to the point.
There's more coming.
That's right.
Or as you say, there's mo coming.
Mo.
Mo is more than more.
Right.
But thank you so much for allowing us to go there. So what questions do you have?
Oh my God, what questions do I not have? No, I just want to say one thing that I just love and appreciate about you and your teachings is it is about the experience that you walk in. It's not about a specific dogma or set of rules or religion. This is why we have been so attracted to you and your and Agape and everything that you do, because it is your life experience. It is the person that you are and represent, and you are an extension of your knowledge. You just extend that. And so it resonates so much because you can just feel the love that you are. And you don't even have to say anything. It just resonates from you, and it's just powerful. And I love it.
I told him last night, I said, it's not from a book that you've read, but it's from a life that you've led.
Yeah. Well,
and that is. Yeah.
And that, talk about the frequency effect. It's tangible, coming from you and whoever's listening, it's not about attaining a certain amount of knowledge to then get you to a certain feeling. Right. It's about just experiencing the presence of love. Yeah. And that can come just from you saying, I want to experience the presence of love. That is that invitation that you're talking about. It's so easy and so powerful, but it's complete surrender.
Complete, yeah. Open my eyes that I may see.
Yes.
You ask the question.
Yes.
And then you start to see, not with your physical eyes, but you start to see with your awareness.
Yeah.
That this presence is everywhere. It's a beautiful life, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. Well, that was a question I was going to ask you. in your journey, do you ever get to a point where that feeling fades on a day that you maybe have a lot of, issues or tragedy hits you or something, or is it constant for you ever since
it's a constant
the awakening?
feeling? It's like the backdrop of everything.
Yeah.
So even when something comes up, like for instance, I felt the heaviness with these fires in the Los Angeles area. I could feel the heaviness on me. Because I knew a lot of people as well, and people I don't even know. I could feel for them, and so there was a sense of heaviness upon me, because now I have to go up and actually minister to the congregation and to these people that have lost their homes and things of that particular nature. But that heaviness is in the awareness of something bigger. Yeah. So I can feel the heaviness, but I feel the presence more. And so in my surrender, then that Holy Spirit, that whole Spirit of God then takes over. And so I don't deny that sadness passes through, that heaviness passes through, and that whatever is passing through, but it's in another dynamic.
Right. It doesn't take over you.
It doesn't take over.
Right.
It's in the backdrop of something bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might see that as something, and in my mind's eye, I'm seeing something like the fires. And by the way, Dr. Beckwith is from the Los Angeles area. He ministers at Agape International, which has a great community outreach for the people experiencing, as we're taping this now, they're just experiencing the fires in the greater Los Angeles area. And so, thank you for coming in the middle of that. But last night he was on a Zoom call ministering to people and being part of the community outreach that's touching people. But as you were saying that, you said, I see that against, something larger. I see the fires kind of you're here, you see fire or tragedy or barriers or whatever may be happening in somebody's life. But back in the background, you always see that presence of something bigger that is going to pull you through.
Yes.
You know that you're going to get through it. And that's faith. That's having eyes to see what the physical eyes can't see. Your spiritual eyes are awakened to see that answer, and you step out on faith, in faith, toward the answer, not letting this be the final wall that stops you toward your pursuit, but always looking beyond while you deal with things here.
Absolutely. It's not merely a faith in God, it's the faith of God.
Oh, I love that.
You're
right.
in it.
Oh.
And the faith doesn't waver because a bad thing happens.
Yeah.
So you don't just have faith in God, as we were talking about recently, because everything is going well.
Right.
And now I have faith in God,
Yeah, everybody can have faith in God when things are good.
But there's something that becomes rooted that sometimes even becomes stronger in the midst of loss or tragedy, because it has to be more active. So you end up having a more of a direct encounter in the midst of what humans may call a tragedy or a loss of things of that particular nature. So at Agape, we call ourselves a dogma-free zone, because the whole idea is to have an encounter with the presence. And every religion has ways of doing that. And so we have no judgment about religion.
I love that about you.
There's just
That's incredible.
every encounter, every religion has their own way of approaching that.
Right.
And when one finds their way,
Right.
they make that contact and their life changes.
I love what you said. I don't necessarily, you have faith in God, but it's not just faith in God, it's the faith of God.
Yeah, it's
because
active.
He's
Yeah.
in us.
Yes.
That's right.
I love Jesus' last prayer when he was crucified. He said, Father, let them be in me as I'm in you.
Yes.
And if people can see themselves in him as he's in God, that means we are in God and God is in us to the fullest expression of the answer.
Yes.
And when we have faith in
Yes.
that, we can move toward and through anything in life.
Those magic words, I and my Father are one.
Yeah.
There's not two.
Yes.
There's no two.
Exactly.
There's
this
only
is
one.
what I tell him all the time.
Don't you point that finger at me.
She's doing one.
There is,
Oh, I'm sorry. You went from there to this.
Thank you.
There's only one.
Good catch.
There's only one.
There's no
And
separation.
So when people believe in two, that's duality.
That's right.
It's only one.
Yeah.
And even now, quantum physics has caught up with the teachings of Jesus and mysticism, by saying there's this one unified field of awareness. There's only one.
It's only one.
Consciousness, and everything is in that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just that God is in all creation is in God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And God is infinite.
Yes.
So
That's
God is
right.
always bigger than the creation.
That's right.
Wow.
One thing I talk to him a lot about, and I love this concept, is projection versus extension. And so as egos, we project the world around us, which is an illusion. And, but God is just an extension. And so,
we are extensions of presence.
That's right. And so to really walk in the fullness of love and the fullness of God, you just are an extension. You just, God says, I am. It's like we just are.
We are. Yeah.
We just are love, and we just walk about life just projecting, that love. And so it's a very hard concept to grasp, and it's so nice and refreshing to have somebody that just really walks in that, because then it's like, oh, that's what that means. When you see somebody that just, is an extension of that love.
Right. And what I love what you just brought up, because I was actually going to bring up quantum computing, because in quantum computing, people are now able to measure frequencies. And before, you can go all the way back to the ancient pyramids, and they had frequency rooms.
Right.
And in those frequency rooms, they would have certain healings take place and all of that. But bring that forward, and what we do at Soak Technologies is we've been able to harness those frequency compositions to actually play for people, and for the people who may question that or say that's too wooey and all that. It was wooey, and it still is a little, but it was not provable 8-10 years ago. But now, since quantum computing can now measure the shift in energy fields, then it's no longer debatable.
Right.
The thing that we can actually see and measure science is now caught up with spirituality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're speaking different languages, but they're married again. They got divorced back in the Middle Ages.
I love that. That's so good. Yes.
But now
They became
now they became one
one.
again. So it's just different language describing the same territory.
Yeah.
Oneness everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you said, now we have the actual technology to measure auric fields.
Right.
We can measure our auras that are around us. We can measure the frequency that we're holding, the vibration. And when an individual has an insight, or when they pray, they meditate, their frequency is actually being lifted. Their vibration is becoming higher. And I always say that frequency is your currency.
I love that.
Yes.
That's what you're circulating in the universe, your frequency.
That's right.
And then the universal law matches your frequency.
That's right.
Right.
And you end up demonstrating in your life what your frequency. And love is the highest frequency.
Right.
It's the highest vibration. And we're all seeking to be lovers of God and lovers of humanity.
Right.
To the best of our ability.
Right. So now what was not provable is now provable with quantum computing. And I'm so happy for that, because now the people who needed the scientific proof can go read white papers now. They can go really study for themselves. And as they do, if that allows them to go in and take that spiritual step of something that they couldn't see before, but now they can, to me, it's all worth it. So
Absolutely. A lot of times ladies will ask me, where can they find a good man? I say, just go to a quantum science conference. I said, those scientists are studying nothing until they bump into the presence of God.
And then it's like
smaller and smaller and smaller. Oh, God, everywhere.
yeah.
And then they end up being changed.
Yeah.
And then they end up becoming very spiritual based on the scientific method. It's
right.
It's my joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
You don't have to go to church. Go to a quantum science
I love it. That's good.
That's funny, and then they probably don't expect that answer coming from you. Right? That's funny. Well, I know people, today, post-COVID, in the middle of the LA fires, et cetera, they're dealing with anxiety, depression, insomnia. I want to get into kind of some of your practices on we're in this physical realm. We're in the world, but not of the world.
Right.
But while we are in the world, we got to take care of the body temple.
Yes.
So when people come to you with anxiety, depression, insomnia, things that they want to better themselves physically, I want to get into some of your practices. I want to get into some of your recommendations. what does Michael Beckwith do and use to keep his body temple healthy? Because I've seen you speak a lot of times now, and there's a time when you're on stage that something hits you, and you're a different person. I told you the other day, my uncle was teaching guitar till he was 92,
right,
and he looked 52.
Right.
And people asked him, he said, "Well, what's your age?" And he said, "Age is just a number, and mine's unlisted."
Right.
He didn't even look at that. I know you don't look at that. I mean, I say this with all reverence, but you run around like a 20-year-old. I saw you kicking your leg up above your head just like last week. I mean, I'm not talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about 10 minutes ago. And how do you do that? Like, how do you walk us through your meditation practices when you get up in the morning?
Yeah.
What kind of mix do you concoct? What do you put in it? And I know that's ever changing, ever evolving, but give us some rough parameters of what you do and what you use to bring the health and vitality to this body temple.
Right. You said a lot already. I mean, I'm not interested in age. And I always say I'm not interested in age, and age isn't interested in me.
In me.
So I stay into the timeless zone. So the first,
I love it.
number one is always
timeless zone. That's
is
good.
always your consciousness, your mind,
Right.
So that's where the prayer and the meditation happens. So when I wake up, I generally wake up, and when I stand up, I become grateful that I'm alive, awake, and aware. I'm very thankful. And then I open myself up I surrender to life, capital L life, which is God. Surrender. And then I say, I am available to have the strength necessary to handle all my assignments today. And those assignments could be things on my to-do list or things it's just going to come into my field. Somebody needs prayer. Somebody's house burned down, whatever.
You don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know what it is, but it includes my to-do list plus the surprises that are going to come to me. So that's when I first get up. I splash cold water on my face, and then I go drink warm water with lemon.
That's what you do.
My minerals.
Like a salt, or
It's called. They're not sponsoring me, but
it's called may after this podcast.
Concentrates minerals.
Okay,
to get out most of the minerals in my body, and I do another little mineral brand. Then I do another thing that zeolite that takes the heavy metals out of your body. So I drink that along with my systemic enzymes on an empty stomach.
Okay,
and then that clears fibrin out of your blood, slows down the aging process, clears up the scar tissue in your body. So I drink that empty stomach. Then I make a special tea, this herbal concoction, and I take my first round of supplements.
Okay.
Then I go to the gym. I work out. I have a
What
trainer.
kind of supplements do you take?
Oh my God!
Just generally, I know there's probably.
I take
a lot.
NAD.
Give us the highlights. Okay, I do too.
Yeah, every day I take. Let me see. I take a good vitamin D complex. I take a good complex for my adrenal glands. I take the zinc. I take C, D. I take basic vitamin complex, and then there are other herbs that I take for the throat.
Got it.
The voice.
Right.
For the mind, for the brain.
Right.
So I'm taking all of that, and then I'll work out.
Okay.
I
So
come
get
back.
your body moving. And what does your workout look like? Is it a walk sometimes? Is it weights? Is it both? I know you said you had a trainer.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I go into the gym and I get on the treadmill and I walk and jog a mile to warm up. First, a stretch. And
Wait a
then
minute. A mile just to warm up? I can't even say it.
Yeah.
A mile just to warm up. Okay.
Yeah. I'll stretch first, do that to warm up. Then he works me out with weights.
Okay. Got it.
And then after the weightlifting, I stretch again.
How long do you work out with weights?
An hour.
No kidding. After you've went a mile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No wonder you can kick your foot over your head.
And then I come home. Now I make my smoothie.
Okay.
And do you get up really early? I'm sorry to interrupt. Or is this like...
I'm at 2 days of the week. I'm at the gym at 6 a.m.
Okay, yeah.
Another day of the week, because of his clients
Right.
that he has, another day of the week I'm there at 9.
Okay. So it just kind of depends on the
And
day.
one day I'm at 7. So it kind of moves based on.
You know, God doesn't get up till 10 a.m. Central Time.
God's always up. So
Yeah. Did you hear that?
I got to get my body.
I am not a morning person at all. But sorry. So you've worked out for about an hour. You stretch. You come home. You drink a smoothie.
Yeah, I make a smoothie.
And what's in that smoothie?
I make my own milks. You know.
Oh, wow. Your own milks.
Yeah. So I'll have almond cashew one day. I'll have almond Brazil nuts one day. I'll have almond macadamia one day. I have almond walnuts.
How do you
one day.
make your own milks? You just take the nuts and
Again,
blend them up?
these people aren't sponsoring me. There's something called an almond cow, where you just put the almonds in a little dish, and you put the top on it, and you put it in the machine with water, and it stirs it up. In 3 minutes, you have your almond milk.
Oh, cool.
No preservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that.
Yeah.
And so I make my own milks. That becomes my
Love
base.
Right.
I put in the avocado. I put in my blueberries. Sometimes I put in spinach. I put in sometimes apple. It may change, but I'm always the basics is always avocado and always blueberry.
Right.
Everything else may change. And then I have my own super green drink. You know, that's my own brand.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I put in a special protein powder. It's primarily pea protein, but with a whole lot of other ingredients.
Yeah.
And then that becomes...
And they're saying pea protein is one of the top, cleanest proteins you can get now.
Right. It's very clean. A lot of them have been a lot of pollution in it.
Right.
But pea protein so far is still very clean.
Okay.
And so I drank that with my second round of supplements. And so now... so before I left the house, I did a brief meditation. And then, so now I go take a steam, shower, get ready, come out to where I meditate, and I do a formal meditation. Then I go to the office. So I don't have any solid food.
I know you're ready for the office, but is the office ready for you? You probably come in there charged and
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Life is good.
Still drinking their coffee.
oh my Lord, that's amazing. So then you go into the office and your work day is.
It depends on what's going on. There may be meetings, and maybe my own podcast that I'm filming, or someone else's, or I'm writing.
And give me the name of your podcast.
Take Back Your Mind.
Take Back Your Mind, which is an amazing podcast. And you've had us on that.
Yeah, both of you on there, and ratings went up.
Yeah.
I think my ratings were a little higher than hers, or was it the opposite?
Well, they were a little higher than yours because I played yours twice.
So yeah,
You never told me that.
If you do the math, actually.
Yeah, do the math. Well, please don't play hers twice, because I know every time she's on, everything goes up. So. But okay, so you're there. It depends on the day.
Yeah. I'll have lunch later on. So my first solid food is lunch.
Okay.
That's my biggest meal.
And is that around 12, 1 o'clock?
No, it wouldn't be that. It'd be more like 1:30.
Okay.
I'll have solid food, and then.
And what will that solid food be? Because you're vegan, right?
I'm plant-based, 98%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Primarily.
And have you been vegan your whole life, or
Plant-based.
plant-based?
40 years at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happened many
Very
years
cool.
ago when I was
Yeah.
having my spiritual awakening. Something happened to me, and I was eating a piece of chicken, and I could feel the pain of the chicken and how it was being
Wow.
raised.
Wow.
I could just feel all that energy, and I stopped eating it.
Wow.
And then I learned how to make protein without physical meat. Because all you need is the amino acids.
Right.
You don't need
Exactly.
People, when you eat meat, I'm not putting down meat or anything, but when you eat it, you don't get any nutritional value for 48 hours. You have to digest it, take it apart,
then your body
put it back
assimilates
together.
it. Yep.
So I want immediate energy.
Right.
So you only get that from fruit and vegetables.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
I love that.
Don't say a word. I know that's what you've been telling me. Because I still like
listen to the woman.
I know.
I still like a little chicken, and a little
Well,
Fish.
I won't get into
Around
the
more
dietary stuff, but
yeah.
little
Yeah.
salmon's probably better for you than chicken.
Oh yeah. No,
You
love
can do a
salmon.
test. Stretch. Eat chicken and see if you can stretch the same day, next day. You will not be able to.
Really?
Yeah, because it coagulates differently.
No kidding.
Makes your
But
blood
salmon's
thicker,
better.
yeah.
Salmon won't have that effect
Yeah,
as much.
Wild caught.
Right. Salmon.
Yes, not farm.
Right.
There's no amino. There's no
I've heard
omega.
that.
There's no omega in a regular salmon. It has to be wild.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll see it. You'll still have your same stretching ability. But if you eat chicken, it contracts. You'll lose your flexibility.
No kidding.
Yeah. So if you eat it sparingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So anyway, I
Good
wouldn't need to
to
get
know.
into all
Yeah.
that.
No. I want to hear
One
that.
of my
So-
favorite topics.
So you've had lunch.
Yeah.
And it's 1:30, 2 o'clock. Then walk me through the rest of
Yeah,
rest of your day.
every
As it
day is-
applies to health, wealth, nutrition.
Every day is different. I'm in my office.
Yep.
And so there's moments of meditation. If someone comes in, there's prayer.
Right.
If there's a staff meeting, there's a group staff prayer,
Right.
meditation. visioning. I'll have the staff write down what they're doing and what they'll be doing 3 months from now, what's going to emerge in their particular ministries.
Good.
So there's that kind of process that's going on. And since, we are a global community, I'm dealing with people from all different time zones and different parts of the world.
Right.
So there's all kinds of
Right.
telephone calls and things of that particular nature. So it goes on. So me and Lee and Hamid, we probably leave the office later than everybody. So we're probably leaving the office at 8 sometimes.
Right.
We try to get out by 6, but it doesn't.
Do you have
we're working on stuff.
Do you have an afternoon snack? Do you get up and walk around? Do you
we
drink
have
water,
we have a
tea?
rebounder
Oh, cool. I love that.
in the office.
Oh, nice.
So in the middle of the afternoon, I'll go jump on it and jump up and down.
Yeah.
And
Really?
get my lymph system clean and all of that and hydrate.
Right.
And then when I go home, I'll have a meal, but it's not as heavy as the lunch meal. It's more of a light meal.
Got it.
And I'm trying to not eat like after 7 or 8, just I don't want, so before I go to bed, I'll hydrate, take some more systemic enzymes, and another little herb that pulls out toxins out of your body, and pray and go to sleep.
Yeah.
When I picked you up this morning at the hotel, you came out with Soak sound frequencies playing.
Right.
Do you play those
the
during the day as part of your day, part of your workout?
I play the exercise every day when I'm on the
Exercise
treadmill.
Yeah.
The phone's right there in that little cup holder.
Right.
Playing exercise.
So you turn on the Soak frequencies.
And that's on there, and then it's in the gym.
Right.
So I have it right there. And interestingly enough, every day I have beet juice. My trainer makes me organic beet juice. And sometimes it has other herbs and other vegetables in it. And I have the phone right next to the water, right next to the beet juice.
Cool.
So I'm getting the vibration in the beets.
Right.
I love that.
You're getting the beat in the beat.
Yeah. The holy beet is going in the beets.
The holy beats.
And so I'm drinking that.
We call those drinkwincies.
Yeah, drinkwincies. So I'm already doing that. And so the exercise will be right there.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And then
you never told me that.
Yeah. And then, when you ask me, I have to break down what I do because it's so internalized. I don't think about it.
Right. You're on autopilot.
Yeah, just, so I'm in the car. I'm on the way to the office. Depending on what I'm going to be doing that day, I'll put on focus, or I'll put on mental clarity, or I'll put on whatever it's going on.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do a couple of podcasts in a row, I may have focus, and then I may switch it to mental clarity. So by the time I go into the podcast room and go into a prayer before that, that may have worked. I may have worked one of those two.
And if people don't know what that means, we have, and this is not a shameless plug, but I've got to say it because this is part of your life, but we have frequencies. We have 30 frequencies in the Soak app, SOAAK, obviously. And you can go in there and you can, you'll have anxiety, anti-anxiety, anti-depression, mood boost. We were listening to that yesterday together. A frequency for working out, exercise enhancement, low energy, low libido, all of those things. So you're saying throughout your day, you've got your phone because everybody's got your phone with them.
Yes.
Everybody's got their phone with them, and you'll reach down and play whatever that hour or that moment may be calling for. So if you need to focus more, you find the focus frequency, turn it on for 5, 10, 20 minutes, however long you need it. And then when you're going to the gym, you turn on the exercise frequency and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so it's become just a part of
every day
extension. But also, I think the frequencies are amplified by your intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you always say.
For sure.
Yeah. So you have the focus, or you have the mental clarity, or whatever it is. But as you give yourself over to it, you actually intend to be focused.
Yeah.
And you intend to have a level of clarity. I think it amplifies they work hand in hand. Consciousness plus technology working together.
Yeah.
That's
I love that. And what you think about, you bring about.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So it's
So a question about your wellness routine, kind of going back to that. When you travel, because I know you travel a lot, do you do the exact same things when you travel, or do you find you get yourself out of that routine and have to get back?
I try
when you
to
come
stay.
back
You're all over the world too. You're in different time
because that's one thing
zones,
that's hard on us is when we travel. It's like you take all your stuff, and sometimes you stop.
I don't know if you saw my supplement, but I have a bag, and obviously I'm not taking all the supplements that I have at my house.
Right.
But I take my basic ones.
Right.
and I travel with those. When I hit the hotel, I put my feet up against the wall, so my feet are up like this. For at least 20 minutes, my feet are above my head.
Cool.
So it's, in yoga, it's called the immortality posture. So the blood is flowing to the extremities. So it slows down the aging process as well.
And you do that because of flying?
I've been on a flight. I've been on a plane.
Because of circulation.
Yes. So I'll do that. And basically, and then the routine stays the same. But always, if people book me to speak somewhere, I always say, does the hotel have a gym?
Yeah.
So I know I can get up, do the basics. I won't do everything that I do with my trainer, but I'll do light weights with a lot of reps. When I'm with my trainer, I'll do heavier. But when I'm by myself, I'll do lighter weight, but I'll do a lot of reps on whatever I'm working on. I do it 50. I call it 50-50-50, meaning I'll do 50 reps on all the body parts.
Wow, very
but lightweight, 50 bicep, 50 squats, 50
I love
whatever.
That.
And just
that's
so that
a lot.
But it's light, so that the body, I'm not forgetting about the body tempo.
Right.
Yeah. So I try to stay within some range of exercise, even when I'm traveling.
Of your healthy habits.
Yeah.
What is your key to the consistency? Is it, you have been doing the same thing, the same wellness routine for years and years.
40 years.
So many people, they'll do stuff, and myself included. You get into a really good routine, and then something happens, and then you fall off the wagon, so to speak, and then it takes you a little bit to get back on. What is your key? How do you stay so consistent?
Because it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's like I say, you start off with a discipline. Discipline means you're a disciple. That's what disciple is. A disciple is someone who loves. Like if you love music, you become a disciple of learning how to play the piano. And so what happens is, after a while, discipline becomes a blisscipline. You do it because you love it, not because it's not obligation anymore.
Yeah.
I don't go to the gym because I'm obligated to go.
Right.
I go because I already know how I'm going to feel.
Right.
Blisscipline.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. So it's like, if I don't do it after a period of time, there's something missing in my life.
Right.
It's the same thing with my meditation. I love the connection with the presence of God. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And even though every day is not the same, sometimes your mood is different from day to day, but that connection and the presence is, I just love it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it's not a discipline at this moment.
Right.
It's more of a blisscipline.
I love that.
What would be the most fundamental thing for people out there that don't have a real disciplined wellness routine, also young and older?
Yes.
What would be one of the most important things if they started with something? Is it something mental? Is it physical?
I think you become willing to do a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't say, I'm going to sit here in meditation for a half hour.
Yeah.
Say, I'm going to sit here for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
I'm going to work out just for a few moments.
Yeah.
And then what happens is it builds.
Yeah.
You'll look up and you say, wow, I sat here for 5 minutes.
That was good. Easy. Yeah.
Oh, I've worked out, But if you say, for the rest of my life, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to work out for 40 minutes every day. No, you're not.
Yeah,
the ego's going to rebel.
Or I'm going to lose 100 pounds by tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Baby steps.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that.
Just do baby steps, and then don't do it for the rest of your life. Just do it today.
Yeah, right.
Just today I'm going to do
the rest of today.
Just today.
Yeah.
Just today. Today I'm going to do a baby step.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to do
that's
a
good.
baby step. Today I'm going to do a baby. Oh, I've taken 2 steps today. Oh, I've taken 5. And then pretty soon, your temporary lifestyle has become a way of life.
Yeah.
So it's just, this is what you do.
Yeah.
I tell people, listen, do you brush your teeth every day? Do you take a shower every day? Hopefully we have I call it, these are social contracts.
Yeah.
You wash your hands when you go to the restroom. You take a shower. When you go out into the public, you've done certain things according to the social contract to be around people.
Yeah.
So the social contract, I think, needs to extend itself into your inner awareness. You don't want to go out and have your woundedness all over the place.
Yeah.
You want to go out and have some kind of presence, some kind of contemplation with the presence. So you're having an inner shower.
Yeah, that's so good.
So that you're also, so the social contract now extends to my inner awareness as well. So I'm not just rushing out. I don't leave home without it.
Right.
I rush out because I've gone in.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking a better version of myself.
And because you feel so good, because of that, it's just like on autopilot. That's what you want to do every day because you feel so good. Why would you do anything different?
And then you become resilient. So when things happen, because things happen. There's accidents on the freeway, there's fires, there's whatever. There's things that occur in the world of phenomena. Mm-hmm. But you have a level of resilience to handle those things now. Yeah. It doesn't prevent things from happening necessarily, but it does allow you to have an equity in the presence that you can use to pay with the things that do happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
I love that. I wanted to ask you too, and I want to go here for, maybe another 20 minutes or so, but I want to ask you about manifesting things in people's life. I know, there's been the law of attraction. There's been all these different things. What you think about, you bring about. I know frequency plays an important part in that. But if you've got a goal in life and you want to manifest a spouse or a better friend group, or everybody wants to manifest more money, like that seems to never change, or you want to manifest a better body, break down the steps of how to do that, and what's a protocol that you've used in your life to manifest the things that have come into your life, or am I even terming it correctly? Yeah,
you're articulating it beautifully. I think that the law of attraction is what I call a linguistic convenience to describe how to manifest.
Okay.
Because in reality, you already have everything you need within you, in your field. Yeah. It's there. Mm-hmm. So you're not really attracting it, but it looks like that. So what happens is, as you begin to first see in your mind's eye, you have to re-enchant your imagination. So you're visualizing and you're seeing the life you want to live, or what you want to manifest. I want to manifest greater health. Right. I want to manifest greater prosperity. I want to manifest greater friendship, whatever. Right. You see it, and then you begin to feel that it's already happening. Now, how do you do that? You imagine a moment in your life where you felt that all of your needs were met. Doesn't matter how old you were. You remember it. Right. Imagine a moment in your life where you felt safe. You felt secure. You remember a moment in which you were supported. Okay. So those are feelings.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so now you're seeing what you want, but now you're feeling all of my needs are met. I'm feeling loved. I'm feeling supported. If you don't have a memory, then you imagine it, because the brain doesn't know the difference between your imagination or memory. So then what happens is you move from attraction to resonance. The law of resonance. You're actually feeling that it's already happening. And then you move from resonance to radiance. You're actually radiating the feeling. And then you move from radiance to emergence, meaning that which is within you starts to emerge. Now, like an acorn, you put it in the soil.
Right.
Everything that the acorn needs to be an oak tree is already within the acorn. All the information is already there.
Right.
Once it's in the right condition, the soil, the hydration, the sunlight, the nutrition, that which is within the acorn dies to the acornness, and what emerges are roots and shoots, ultimately a trunk, but it's already within. Now, the difference between us and an acorn is that we have to participate. We become the right condition. Everybody's waiting for the condition to be right in the world.
Right.
If that person changes, if only she does this, if only that, if only the economy does this, that, or the other. No. It's already here. So I have to become the vibrational condition for it. So I have to feel that I'm worthy. I have to feel that I already have it. I have to resonate with that. I have to have a level of radiance. And then what happens is emergence. That which is within me begins to emerge. And then that frequency shows up as doors opening. It shows up as possibilities that we've never seen before.
Right.
potential being actualized
Right.
in us. We think it's a miracle.
Right.
Oh my God, that guy never spoke to me before. Now he wants to do business with me.
Right.
Or whatever. But where's it coming from? It's coming from right here.
Inside.
This vibration.
That was always there,
love
but
that.
it was not in the right condition.
Right.
Yeah.
We are endogenous, meaning, this plant here is indigenous to a particular environment.
Right.
A palm tree cannot grow in snow.
Right.
It has to grow
Yeah.
in sunlight.
Right.
We're not indigenous. We are endogenous. That means we create our own environment.
Wherever we are.
You, Henry, can go anywhere and start a business
Right.
because it's already within you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
economy could be bad. Economy can be good. If I put Henry Penix somewhere, after a little while, he's going to say, "Oh, I got an idea."
Right.
It's already within you, and you're gonna, and things are gonna start to percolate. And you're gonna meet this person. This is gonna happen. Oh, this is the building. I can use that building, because of who you are.
Right.
It's going to manifest. So we're getting people to understand that it is within them, but they have to participate in their own unfolding. It's not.
Yeah.
I say it's not going to just happen. It's going to happen just according to
Oh my God.
Yeah.
according to law.
I love
right.
that.
And
That's
you
good.
become the arbiter of your own personal law.
That's so good.
So it's working. So I tell people we're not anticipants, we are participants. We're not anticipating something to happen. We are vibrationally participating in the feeling that it's already happening. You see? So just stage 2 of that is, and that's visualization and all of that good stuff that people know about. Stage 2 is visioning. And that is, you don't tell God what you want. You don't tell the law what you want. You actually sit and ask, what is it that is trying to emerge through me? What gift am I to contribute? Because in our soul, because we have wants, many people don't even know where their wanting comes from.
Right.
It could come from a parental fantasy, it could come from society, some commercial you saw on television.
Right. Right.
But then your soul, it wants. You made a promise before you came here to deliver certain goods. That's in your soul.
Yeah.
So when you ask, what is it that I'm to contribute? How does God see God's life as me? You start to activate those spiritual faculties, and you start to catch a vision. That vision is not coming from your ego.
Yeah.
It's
That's
coming
right.
from your soul.
Wow.
That's real transformation.
I love that.
I love it. So it's cellular, and then it becomes cellular,
Right.
For
Yeah.
you to actually walk it out and
Right.
do it, and do those things that you've received from the Father.
And the person that receives it is not the same person who manifested. You've changed.
That's right.
See,
That's so
when
good.
you said I've got, and this is going to go just a little bit longer. I'm sorry, but when you say that acorn had to die before it could do roots and shoots, I think a lot of people have a hard time seeing themselves in the next expression of themselves, even when they've got a great desire of their heart. I've loved business all my life, and thank you for the compliment. But when I walk into a situation, I did some consulting in the United Nations one time, and a guy actually asked me, he had bought a country. I didn't know you could buy a country.
Not just an island, but a whole country.
A country. And he came to me, and we were at the UN, and he said, how would I set up the financial infrastructure for this? And how would I set up, just asking me. And he had this entourage around him. And for a brief second, I said, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I'm not worthy to be. I'm a boy from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
You're this whatever at the United Nations in New York, and you just bought a country, and why am I worthy? But also in that second, I died to the acorn, and I said, I am more than worthy,
Right.
because I'm not Henry Penix.
Right.
I'm part of the creator
Right.
of the world who created the country that you're getting ready to buy, and I know it already.
Right.
I got it.
Right.
Just give me a second so the words would come out.
Right. But you said the magic word. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know opens the door.
Yeah.
For the
That's
real
right.
knowing. Yeah.
That's right. I love that.
I am so excited right now. This is revolutionary for the world, and I think this is where the world is going. When they can get over themselves, when they can die to the acorn and see who God sees them as.
Yes.
And the greatness that they have, because they have the greatness of the universe inside them.
Absolutely.
And when they can die to themselves and lean into that, then what the Bible says, all things are possible.
All things are possible with God.
With
right.
God.
Yeah.
That's
With
right.
God.
I'll say all things are possible with God consciousness.
Yep.
You actually
Yeah.
have to be in tune
That's right.
Yep.
with the presence of God.
Yep. Yep.
That's so good.
Because God can only do for you what God can do through you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because God that's not going to come out of the sky and just do something.
Right.
We're his hands extended, it
Yeah,
says.
we
Yeah.
are the expression. So
Yep.
God comes through us.
Yep.
And we become the hands and feet and the eyes and the tongue and of the presence of God.
So when
love
God's
that.
coming through you, as you have to realize that it's not you.
Right? It's not the little me.
Yeah.
I'll make fun of little Michael sometimes, even when I'm speaking.
Right?
I say, this guy.
Yeah. That's when you kick your foot over your head.
I think that's God.
Look what that guy
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. He said, I don't remember doing that.
I mean, that has happened many times though, where I'll look at myself on the film. I say, what did
What did I
I'll
do?
see myself go down and jump up, and I don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
But now, more and more, I'm remembering it as
Yeah.
it's beginning to happen. But before, it's like
Yeah.
I didn't do that. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But
So for the person to die to themselves and see them as that next version of themselves, because you may be able to envision it, you may be able to tie an emotional thought to it, like the time you were safe, the time you were protected,
Yes.
the time you had all your needs met. You can do all that right, but if you don't take that other step and see yourself as being that person. You told me when you came here, a lady on the plane looked at you.
Oh, wow.
And she said, would you help me?
well, I asked her. She was kind of
Right.
fumbling with her bag, and
Right.
she was elderly. And I said, "Can I assist you?"
Right.
You know,
Right.
everybody's rushing to get off the plane.
Right.
Can I help you? She says, no. You know what to do. I said, what? She said, touch me right here and give me a prayer. I said, okay. So I just tapped her. I do that to people at times. I just tap them right there. And then I did a little prayer, and she said, thank you very much. That's all I needed from you. You know,
She recognized
something.
That's
Yeah.
so
what
cool.
she needed was an expression of you.
Yeah, she didn't want me to help her with
And
her
it was
bag
God coming
or
through you.
anything. She wanted a prayer. And I was telling Lee about this, other people, and they said, well, did she know who you were? I said, I don't think so. She just
Yeah.
felt something
Yeah.
and asked me for a touch and a prayer.
But that's the point. If you would not have seen yourself as that and died to little Michael, that could have never happened.
No. You know, it just reminded me of an experience. Years ago, I'm young now. I'm now attending that spiritual community, taking classes. And we went to, remember the Crystal Cathedral? Remember?
Oh, yeah. Dr.
So-
Robert Schuller.
Yeah. So our choir was singing at the Crystal Cathedral.
Wow.
And I was there, and I noticed this guy, you know, with all those windows and everything.
Yeah,
I noticed
yeah.
this guy, and he just looked so confident and so put together. And I wanted to get close to this guy.
Right.
I said, wow, this guy looks brilliant. So I'm trying to be stealth and walk closer and closer and closer to meet this
Right.
guy. And I get close. I was looking at myself in the mirror.
Whoa.
And that like startled me. It's like, gosh, that's what I look like? I had no self-reflection. I was still vacillating between that which was coming through me as presence and then little Michael. I still had an attachment to
Yeah.
how Michael looked at himself.
Yeah.
A little bit of unworthiness, a little bit
Yes.
of why is this good happening to me and all of that. I remember, that's me. And it shifted something in me
Yeah.
to more embrace,
That's
you know,
incredible.
how I was seen.
So
I was in my late 20s when that happened.
I hope everybody sees this, because when you believe it and when you step out in it and you see yourself as it, then the physical catches up
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Like it then it manifests.
Yeah.
And so how to manifest, if you guys don't do anything else, go back, listen to this section, because you've given the exact steps to manifest anything in your life.
Yeah.
And that's very cool.
Here's another hack that
Yeah.
they can do.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a field of infinite potential
These are holy hacks.
and infinite possibilities.
Yes.
So right when you're falling asleep, you know, and you're not asleep, but you're close. You absolutely choose the possibility of the life you want to live. You choose it. Don't wait to see what's going to. You choose that possibility. You choose it because it's happening right now. I mean, time, you know, past, present, and future is happening simultaneously. So you choose it and then you go to sleep. When you wake up between sleep and wake, you choose it again. So you keep choosing the life you want to live.
Wow.
I love
until
that.
it becomes entrained within you.
Yeah.
And now what happens is your personal law changes.
Yeah.
You're now a fiat of the Spirit. And then the universal presence through universal law has to match that frequency. And then manifestation happens, but here's the deal. Sometimes the manifestation is beyond what you were visualizing. It's beyond what it's, because the field is infinite, but your mind is sometimes compartmentalized. It's limited. But when you get into the feeling of it, then sometimes you're shocked and surprised by the good that occurs.
Yeah.
You know.
It reminds me of the scripture in the Bible that says, to he that is able to do abundantly above and beyond anything we ask, think, or even desire.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's more than.
Right.
But you took the step, though. You took the step. You chose it, and it chose you.
Yeah.
You chose what chose you before you came here.
Right. And then yielded to it.
Yes.
And come what may. It's a come what may prayer. Yeah.
We are going to have you back because you have brought an awareness and enlightenment here that I've never experienced, and I've been around you a lot, but you've brought an awareness here of the Spirit and given people real advice on how to move from where they are now to where they want to be, giving them advice on how to manifest things, shown them how to keep God the center of their life and have focus on the answer, and any little thing that comes up that tries to derail you're always looking out in faith and on faith at the answer, so that you never get hung up with these little things that try to so easily beset you. You know, in the Bible it says, I've got to set down the weights that so easily beset me, and those weights can be you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they're always. Our opinion, our
only
points
you.
of view, our judgments, our resentments, our unforgivenesses.
That's right.
You know, we have to clear our perceptual window so we can see clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're barely scratching the surface.
Yeah.
On
I know. This is what I don't think we have room in our cameras to hold this. I'm seeing everybody run around in the
I have
studio.
a question before.
Are we okay for a little bit longer? Okay. Go ahead.
So talking about the frequency effect in general of how, our thoughts affect our reality and the frequencies, I want to hear your perception and teaching on forgiveness and how that applies to our frequencies and our manifestation powers, having unforgiveness versus being forgiving.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, a thought is a unit of mental energy that can be measured. Every thought is not created equal. A thought that emerges from a field of separation doesn't have the same amplitude than a thought that's emerging from a field of unity or love. So they're different. That the higher thoughts are way more powerful than the lower gain of thoughts. So, as applied to forgiveness, or if a person is operating with resentment, unforgiveness, rancor, hate even, those are low vibrational frequencies. They will manifest. And how do they manifest? Immediately as the chemicals in your body. So immediately, if you're in resentment, animosity, you produce toxic chemicals that block your immune system, speed up the aging process, create a condition of cortisol, create a condition of disease. You may not get a disease right away, but the condition is there.
Right.
Okay. So the other thing that unforgiveness does, if someone's done something to you, they said something about you, they gossiped about you, they stole something from you, and you're not forgiving, you're in a state of, they owe me an apology. They need to make amends.
Yeah.
They owe me money.
Right.
You're using the law saying, I don't have what I need.
Oh, wow.
Now, what does that
That's
turn
good.
into? That turns into debt. So unforgiveness becomes debt because you're saying someone owes me something and I don't have it. When you go into forgiveness and you cut the emotional cords from somebody, you forgive them, you're saying what you did or did not do cannot affect my destiny. I have everything that I need.
Wow.
I forgive you, I set myself free, and I set you free.
Wow.
And then the universe, they have to live with whatever they did or didn't do.
Right.
but you're free. So now you're telling the universe, you're telling the presence, I got everything I need. Yeah. They can't take that away from me. And so now I start to demonstrate again at a higher level. So I teach that all forgiveness is self-forgiveness.
Yeah,
because those thoughts are in you.
It's only affecting you.
Yeah, it's your thought. You know, so it can become an ulcer.
Yeah.
It can become anxiety. Yeah. You know, and so it's when Jesus says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." He knew they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, right.
but he was saying in substance, they don't know the ramification of what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what's doing to them.
I'm going to set myself free
through
the power of forgiveness.
So I love this so much because the whole manifestation concept is very popular now, and it's a lot more well known, and people are practicing it. But I love what you said about forgiveness and the frequency that you are manifesting from when you are in a place of forgiveness. You're manifesting so much more and easier and faster versus that lower vibration. You're manifesting the hate, and you're manifesting the same thing. So it's the concept of manifesting. Yes, you can do all the things that you said. You can visualize and hold that emotion and do all those things. But if your heart is full of unforgiveness while you're doing that, you're not going to get it manifested as well.
Absolutely. You're riding your bicycle with your brakes on.
Yeah,
you know, you're making some movement.
Yeah, you're going a little bit, you know, which feels good, but man, it's like rocket boosters if you forgive, which
you want to manifest some wholeness.
Yes.
So you have to feel the wholeness even before manifestation. As I've said over the years, that you may not have any physical evidence first, but the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. You know, there's nothing absent.
Right.
Just evidence just hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
So you still hold the space.
Right.
Evidence will show up.
In your energy field.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you just live. I tell people when you go to bed at night, scan your life, see where there's petty annoyances, people that bothered you, they got on your nerves, whatever the case may be. Don't go to bed with that.
Yeah.
Forgive it all.
Yeah.
So you go to bed clean.
Yeah.
I would never get to sleep if I forgave everybody. I'd still be forgiven about 4 in the morning.
You just say,
I'm teasing.
I know you are. You say, I forgive everyone.
Yes.
Anyone who has done or said anything contrary to my wholeness or well-being, I release and set you free. God bless you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
good.
And
it just like cleans your system.
Cleans your slate.
Allows that to come forth. That's a great question.
Yeah. I love it.
But before we wrap up, could you give people, and I don't know why I'm feeling this, but could you give people a meditation before they go to bed? Could you, like, if they're laying there and they're needing to forgive, they're needing to clear their mind, could you give people something and take as long as you need, 2 or 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it takes, give people that, and I want to do this with you as you're doing it right now, because I would like to be refreshed. I would like to show the forgiveness. And for everyone out there that's helping us produce this, if we all go to sleep, just do something to wake us up.
Awake thou that sleepeth, arise from the dead. Yes, Christ give you life.
But just I'd like to include this in this podcast so people that are listening to it, they could always come back to it. And if they want these few minutes right before they go to bed, what would you suggest doing? Lead them through that, if you would, please.
Okay. So I invite everyone just to close your eyes for a moment. Pull your attention away from the world of appearances, the world of effects, the world of circumstances. And just notice now that your body's breathing. Don't do anything to the breath right now. Just notice the inhalation and the exhalation of the body temple. Notice that breath is happening presently, that it is impossible for you to breathe in the future or the past. You're now present, and your breath is keeping you present. Now, as you are exercising dominion over your attention, have an intention to forgive. The first thing in forgiveness is the willingness to forgive. Exercise your intention to forgive. Now allow the beings in your life, conscious and unconscious, to come to you that need your forgiveness. The beings that you know about that may have slighted you, may have said something about you, gossiped about you, stole something from you, hindered your way. And there may be other beings that you don't know anything about that have consciously or unconsciously sought to hinder your walk. Just invite them right here. And with a slight, ever so slight smile on your face, say to these beings, whatever you have done or not done to hinder my way, I release you and set you free. I forgive you. I give forth love. Simultaneously freeing myself to live out the true destiny of my soul without it being hampered. Imagine right now you have some scissors and you're cutting the ties that bind you to anyone who has ever sought to hurt, harm, or endanger you in any way. You're cutting the emotional ties. Say again, I set you free.
I set you free.
Whatever you have done to hurt, harm, or endanger me, I forgive. And I set myself free to prosper, to be whole, and to deliver my gifts. My destiny is assured now. I forgive everybody and set myself free. Put a smile on your face. Take a deep inhalation. Sustain it at the apex for a second. Release with a sigh of ah, ah. Say, I am free.
I am free.
And so it is. Amen. Go to sleep in your freedom or wake up in your freedom, but be free.
I just took a bath from the inside out. Wow.
That was awesome.
How powerful.
I love that so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And they could make up their own version of that,
Yeah.
waking up or going to sleep. But
Yeah.
you just want to keep yourself clean and clear.
No, I
Yeah.
think that version works.
Felt
I for
pretty
sure
good to
think
me.
that version works. If you have, we'll wrap this up. If you could think of one idea that if you take everything we've just talked about and summarized it and given people, another 1, 2, 3 minutes of encouragement, inspiration, thought, so that they can live the life that they desire, what would that be?
I would say I want you to be reminded that the presence of God is for you and not against you. So that means what God created, the universe, is progressive. It's for you and not against you. So when we hear all things work together for good for they who love God, that's you. Everything is working together for good, and you're growing and you're loving of the presence so that your purpose is activated. So what you want to make sure that you're living an intentional life. Many people suffer from an intention deficit disorder, not just attention deficit disorder, but an intention deficit disorder. They're getting their marching orders from the world, television. No. You want to intend to be happy. You want to intend to be healthy. You want to intend to be an individual that's contributing to the world. You want to intend this. You want to wake up and intend it. And as you intend that, then the universal presence by law will match that intention. And you'll be guided to be and then to do, act, to do what is necessary to fulfill that intention. It's called divine and compelling right action. You'll be compelled to do the right thing because now you have become vibrationally the right individual. Live an intentional life. Don't just see what's going to happen. Intend it.
So good.
I love that so much. Did you have any closing thoughts?
I loved what you said just now about compelling. Say that one more time if you don't mind.
Compelling right action. Like when you reach that vibration, you're compelled to do the right thing. And sometimes it shocks your logical mind because you thought you were going to go left. Then you're compelled to do something a little different, and then you end up bumping into your blessing.
Yes, I love that. I think that is what I was talking about earlier with the wellness routine and how do you stay consistent. That's it. It's you are just compelled to do that because it's just what you have.
Right.
It's who you are.
Right.
It's part of you now. And so I want everybody out there to have that same compellingness, I don't know the word, to overtake them, to do the right thing, to do the things that are good and healthy for them. And I just love that so much.
You know what happens is there are some people theologically bent to do the right thing to not go to hell or to do the right thing to go to heaven. But after a while, you want to do what's right because it's right.
Yeah. And it feels good.
You know what I mean?
Feels like love.
It's like you want to love, you want to share, you want to give, you want to be creative. Not to get brownie points.
Right.
Yeah.
But just because that's the nature of God.
Yeah.
And if you want to be selfish, just very selfishly, how it makes you feel.
Right.
You feel great.
You'll feel awesome. You live a productive life, and on and on and on. So the good news is that you're teaching the good news, and this has probably been one of the best podcasts that I've ever heard because I was hearing it real time, and I mean that. This is amazing. This will go out and reach and touch the world and change people's lives. I know that for sure. The bad news is somebody's going to have to follow you on our next podcast. And I don't know exactly how that's going to work out because I don't know where we go from here. So I'll have to.
This will always be the first podcast.
I'll have to
I think
choose.
he's got more stories.
I'll have to choose who we talk to and what we talk about next. But tell people before we wrap this up how people can get a hold of you, where you have services in LA, your podcast. I want to make sure they get that information about you.
Very good. As he was saying, my community is called Agape International Spiritual Center. We're based in larger Los Angeles. You can go to agapelive.com, agapelive.com, and you can watch the services online every Sunday.
I do.
There are classes. There's all manner of things that we do in the community. You can go to michaelbeckwith.com as well to see where and when I'm going to be speaking, maybe in an area where you are. Mm-hmm. If you want to view my podcasts, of which they have both been guests on, you can go to Take Back Your Mind. It's on all platforms. And I have a very large Instagram presence as well, Facebook and all the good stuff. So I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're in the LA area and can get into Agape, you're great to see online, and that's where I see you most of the times. But the times that I've been there,
if you're in LA, come on up.
You feel it,
it's powerful.
Please.
3 services on Sunday.
Yes, please. I don't make the 7 a.m. meditation because, like I said, God doesn't get up till 10 a.m. Central Time. So,
God's resting.
Central, He lives in Oklahoma.
7 creation is like, I gotta rest. Henry, you can rest.
Yeah, you got to change it when Henry comes to town. But no, again, for our podcast here, please connect with Dr. Beckwith. You'll be a better person for it. And for us all here, being the first episode in our new studios for the Frequency Effect, we want to bring you things that will change your life, that will change your mind, that will change who you are becoming and who you will ultimately be. Because anybody can show up at a destination, but it takes intention to show up at your destiny. Mm-hmm. So to show up where you were called to be, give it intention, bring it in cellular to move you in that direction, and you will be better for it. So thanks again. Until next time, Henry, Laura, Dr. Michael Beckwith from The Frequency Effect. We love you guys.
Thank you for sharing your time with us today. After you've subscribed at Soak Podcast, please leave us your questions and comments. Remember, your frequency is what you think about most frequently. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.